Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPLGraduates. Now, it's finally here, isn't it? The international break. It's been manic the past few weeks. Game week's coming left, right and centre, but we've got a little bit of a break now. So we're going to review Game Week 29, aren't we?
We are indeed. It should be a fun one. And he hasn't been on in a while, but we've got Glenn back on the show. We've missed him.
Yeah. I know, man. 2-3 weeks, that's a long time. And I'm back probably at the correct time, the best time ever. And you guys have had some really decent guests on the last few weeks, some really big ones, in fact. So happy to be on again to check my spots again.
He's Mr. Reliable, Glenn Kiley, everyone.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we've had a few good weeks, a lot of really interesting guests we've had on, and another interesting one here in Glenn. And we may as well get straight into it. Josh, do you have your team from this week?
I do indeed. Game week 29. Can you see it on screen?
Yep.
Awesome. So obviously it's a blank this week. We've been planning for ages what to do and stuff. Obviously I wildcarded a few weeks ago now. 47 points. I took a -4, so we're looking at 43 for the week. Martinez in goal. I was tossing and turning between him and Areola prior to the weekend, and at the end of the day, didn't make a difference because they both got 1 point, so nothing too major there. Cresswell brought in this week, 0-pointer. That game was just crazy to watch. It was such a good game. 3-3 draw. Obviously, that's not good for Cresswell or any West Ham defenders. Could have been worse though. Could have been Craig Dawson scoring an own goal. Ben White, 6 points. I was more than happy with him there. Same points as Lewis Dunk. I knew Veltman would probably be the best shout going into it. His attacking numbers were very good, and obviously that was proven right when he got that assist as well. El Mohamed didn't play. Finally, he managed to get placed out of the team for Matty Cash. Although Matty Cash didn't really have a great game, so maybe he should be back in there. Struijk obviously conceded the goal against Fulham, but weren't too bothered because Struijk's so cheap that it was just sort of there for coverage for Dallas if they were to get a clean sheet. Big disappointment not seeing Gareth Bale play. Obviously, since I brought him in, he got subbed off early against Arsenal, and then he's now not played against Aston Villa. So not a good transfer there. Whether I take him out in the near future, wait and see what happens over international break. Aubameyang captain let me down. He looks so rubbish. Glenn will speak about it, but he just looked so out of the game. All the attacks were coming down the right-hand side with Callum Chambers. If Craig Dawson doesn't get that own goal, Aubameyang's there to tap it in. So not ideal, not the best captain for sure this week. Rafinha, 8 points. Bamford, 11 points. Neil Maupay, 8 points. And Harry Kane, 7 points. These were the guys who really picked the game week for me. After that Leeds game, I was buzzing. Obviously, loads of points from them. And then it just, like it seems to always do right now, it just sort of crashes after the first game with only really like the Brighton boys doing anything for me other than Kane. But Kane's ownership was so high. So, yeah, not a great week. It's like a 20k green arrow. But obviously seeing like Ben's score that we'll see in a minute and a few other of my mates' scores, it weren't too good for my mini leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe is a case of with your transfer in with looking at Bale, maybe you just jumped on that hype train.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've seen before that earlier on in the season he could easily not play like 3 or 4 games and come off the bench for him. So that was what I was thinking behind that. Aubameyang as well. I mean, you already had him in, but he was one of my options for this going into this week.
Yeah.
And I opted out of it just based on the fact that I didn't know whether he would play. But yeah, that Maupay pick, what a pick that was. I rate it. I was slandering him before about it, but it turns out that for him to get points, my assets were helping him out. So yeah, it to be fair, decent little week because not many points available, and there's like a select few players that were getting all the points.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to take that on a budget.
Definitely. Glenn, what do you think about Aubameyang? What do you think about his performance? Because for me personally, as an owner and obviously not a fan of either team,
yeah,
he just didn't get involved.
Yeah, he was. I agree with you. I'll actually use that word you've used, terrible. And I actually think in the next 2-3 games, he might not start at least 2 of them. So I think that's the transfer you should make. I see him being fancied in the Europa League instead and not in the Premier League, because now we have like everyone back. So I don't think he'll play. Also, I think he was just put in there so that both of them could play, him and Lacazette. But Lacazette is the one who's supposed to be there. I think he was just like thrown in there. He wasn't supposed to play. He was just put in there because he didn't play against Tottenham, and he wanted to have both of them in the squad, literally, because he didn't do anything at all. Nothing went through him. The only time I saw him was when he went back to defend when Lingard had the ball. That's the only good thing he did in the game. And when you see him getting subbed off, you really do know he's had a bad game, because I think in the 4 or 5 years he's been here, maybe he's been subbed off after a poor performance. Maybe this is like the 3rd time. So that shows you something. I really like the Mope pick, as Ben has said. Bale, I don't know. I wouldn't have transferred him. I was surprised how many people are transferring this season or this week, because he was subbed last week, and Mourinho kind of mentioned him in the press conference where he said some players are not working hard. So I wouldn't have brought him in anyway. But the rest, good picks. Fulham, Leeds. I only had 2 Leeds players, which is good. A defender though, I don't know. But yeah, good week. Considering you only had 4 games, good week. And the Brighton picks very good. Last time out when we had Kendall on a show, I was trying to be nice because she's a Newcastle fan, but they were terrible. They are very, very bad. So I was expecting Brighton to keep a clean sheet 100%.
Yeah, I was getting concerned at some points in that Brighton game where it was 0-0 and it was just looking like it's going to be 0-0 throughout. But as soon as that first goal went in, you just knew that more were going to come in. Inevitable. I'm interested though, Josh, because with your team at the moment, I can see a couple of players who I personally want to transfer out.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that there's a bit of a fixture swing, isn't there, for game week 31? So how are you going to navigate that? You haven't got your wild card still, have you?
No, yeah, all chips are used. So it is obviously, I wouldn't say it's like panic stations, because obviously I would say there's probably 4 lads in there that I'd like to get rid of. But given the fact that I don't need to use my bench boost, I don't really need to go too deep on the bench and have a lot of assets. I think 1 or 2 max is probably enough for me, and then I can push all my budget into the starting 11. I think going straight away, El Mohammadi is the first one who will be coming up, so I can guarantee he's not really going to play going forward. Looking at obviously the Chelsea defence mainly, they're keeping an unreal amount of clean sheets right now. Them and Man United, and already have Luke Shaw, so that will be the first one, and then probably it'll be Aubameyang over Bale, just because he's worth more, and I sort of really want Kevin De Bruyne back, because whenever I have him, he seems to get me lots of points.
Could you scroll up, Josh, to see your bench?
Yeah. It's just my boys that didn't really feature. So Areola, obviously, with the 1 point, Gundogan, Luke Shaw, and then Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. Maybe 2-3 subs as Ben Estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested to see how you play your transfers for next week, because you only got 1, but there's a couple of tough fixtures for you next week. We'll move on anyway. We'll bring my team up next, I think. Let's just get that up for you guys. It was a good week for me. I ended up taking a -8 this week, and you'll see how that works out. So this is my team for this week gone by. 61 points overall, very decent. So you take the -8 into account, I think that's something like 53 maybe for the week. Areola in goal for 1 pointer. Bit disappointed with him, but if he's going to concede, you'd at least want my Leeds asset to score the goal that ruins his clean sheet. Duncan defence, I think that Brighton clean sheet was assured from minute 1, to be honest. They were controlling throughout the game. I picked him because I had the cash spare. Looking back on it, maybe I should have gone Veltman, but, we'll take the 6 points every day. Dallas with 2 points. He played in midfield as well, and disappointing that he didn't get an attacking return in that game. I thought Leeds could have gone on and got more out of that, but we'll move on. The 2 biggest disappointments of the week, Target and Cresswell, both with 0 points this week. Who would have thought? I think Target ended up getting a yellow card and losing his 1 point that he had anyway. But it's one of those ones where everyone's going to have 1 or 2 of those sort of players in the team. Now, moving to the midfield, the 4 horsemen of the midfield. I transferred in So my 3 transfers made this week, it was Dunk was one of them, and then other 2 for hits were Lingard and Lucas Moura, who combined got over 20 points together, which I've probably the best move I've made in a while is these past 2 game weeks, bringing in Trossard last week and this week bringing in Lucas and Lingard. I mean, Lucas Moura is by far the best player for Spurs on that pitch at the weekend. He did everything for him. So I was happy with that. Lingard obviously got the returns really early on, and once you get the 2 returns, mate, you can sit back and let Arsenal come at you. I don't mind that whatsoever. So I was really happy with that. And Trossard, again, I said I'll be happy with him not even returning this week because he got me 10 points last week. He's only gone and got more points than me. He's got 14 this week, which I was buzzing about. We'll move on to up front. Maja could have scored. He got one cleared off the line. And if he's scoring that, we're looking at an incredible week. He could have easily had 9 points, 10 points again. Wasn't to be. Could this be the end of the road between me and Maja? We'll have to wait and see. But Kane 7 points. I wasn't too bothered whether he returned or not, to be honest. He's just in there as my vice. And it's a bit disappointing because I could have picked any one of my front line apart from Maja and I'll be all right. But it is what it is. I finished with a pretty good green arrow. I think I'm up to nearly top 500k now. So we're moving up slowly. And that's the team for this week.
Yeah, very, very nice. That the midfield, as you mentioned, is probably what changed the game week for you. Lingard, especially. I think I was like one of the only people in the world not to own Lingard this week. As a Man United fan as well, it hurt. It hurt seeing him do the damage against Arsenal, but he always does it. So I weren't really too shocked. Trossard's been a great pick. 24 points in 2 weeks. That is unreal from a Brighton player, especially. I think one thing that has let me and Ben down this whole season has been our captain picks. We'll have a run of like a couple of good ones, and then it'll just go on a real bad run of bad captain picks.
I'm on 4 captaincy blanks in a row, but still on green arrows throughout. So it just goes to show I'm picking the right players, but not the right captain every time.
Yeah, they're literally the same here. I think it's almost like a 50-50 ratio with me, like how I've picked my captains this season. I think we'll discuss it a little bit later on, but it's not been a good showing so far.
Oh, wow, 61 points. Just look at that team. On another week, I'd be asking you, what the hell? There's no one player getting that team. Like, all of them are just terrible picks, and they got you 61 points.
It's not terrible picks, though, because they got me 61 points.
Yeah, like, this team will win you one battle, but probably lose the other 99. This Lingard, look at Lingard, Trossard, Lucas Moura, Rafinha, goodness me, Maja. Like, I'm not surprised with Maja, Josh. Me and Josh have been telling you about this Maja guy, fraud. I wish you had like a fraud alert kind of video. Trossard, I'm jealous of you, Trossard, because I had him for 5 weeks, as I said, at the start of the season, and he never got me any points. And then all of a sudden, you have him for 2 weeks, he gets you points. Lucas Moura was a good pick for you. I wanted him, but I couldn't really get him. Lingard, I should have seen the light. I expected him to score against Arsenal like he usually does. The rest of the picks, Dallas should have scored, to be fair. Dallas had like a couple of chances, should have had an assist or a goal, but I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure that's why you probably play your wildcard. Like this team going forward, I don't know how many points they'll get. They probably won't even play. Trossard has been sitting on the bench for most weeks. Same with Lucas, same with Lingard, same with, I think, some with Maja. Like all of them, like, wow, 61 points is very good for you this week. So probably this could be your best team of a week, like since you started playing FPL.
Yeah, I mean, I was always planning to attack this game week 29, and it's paid off for me massively. As a few people were saying, maybe, I mean, I know Josh was saying it's not going to be an important week, but we have seen a lot of green arrows, and a lot of people jump up really high.
It surprised me how like, especially after that Leeds game, like my rank went up to like nearly 500k just after 20 odd points from two players. Like I thought a lot of people would have planned more for it, but it seemed like it was obviously a lot less, and that's what seeing you like boost up like 100k in rank. It was a really good week.
Yeah, so you've gone up 100k.
I've gone up to. So
like nearly, I think it's like 80,000.
I think I jumped up 90,000.
That just shows you like a correct captain pick, if you just captain like a Trossard, that would have been like 300k or something. Just one pick.
My rank,
yeah,
like the rank climb doubles if I get that captaincy pick right, which is a bit frustrating for the season. But if I'm having the players that playing save me, it's fine. I can put up with that. But yeah, it's set up, and I agree with you, Glenn. For next week, I was looking at it, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to have this team going forward. So I've hit the wild card. I've got players in that I want to get in. So we're looking in a pretty decent shape at the moment. I'm pretty happy with it all. Have we got Glenn's team up and ready?
Yeah, I've got it ready.
Go on, Glenn. Talk us through your team for this week.
So Ariola has been in goal anyway for a few weeks. First of all these weeks I've been planning for the last 5 weeks, but the injuries just caught me off guard. Like Son getting injured, I wasn't sure whether Saka was gonna play. I wasn't sure whether Bamford was gonna play. I had to take out Cooper, who was at the back because he got ill. So I had like 12 players plus 2 free subs. So I was going for 14 players this week, but ended up like doubtful about 5-6 players. So I brought in Dallas and Lacazette. I was so happy with the Lacazette pick. I think I took out Cooper for Leeds, the defender, straight. I'm so happy with Dallas. For striking, I think I took out Richarlison for Lacazette. So Kufal was just there because I didn't expect any of Kufal or Dallas to keep a clean sheet, but just had to play them. Got a yellow card as well. There's why I thought he got an assist, like when Antonio headed the ball and then Sushek scored. I was so happy because if West Ham had to score against Arsenal, I was like, okay, let it be Kufal. If they had to score against us, let it be Kufal. I won't be 100% mad, but it got taken away because it ended up being an Antonio assist. For Dallas, could have had an assist, could have had a goal. I think at the time he also gave Rafinha a goal and then it was ruled offside, which was kind of sad. Obvious offside, but kind of sad. Saka. Now, let me tell you guys the truth. With Saka, he could have been scoring like 2-3 goals every week, but I don't think he's a good finisher, especially one-on-one. He's missed probably 18 of the 20 chances I've seen him getting one-on-one. He's missed all of them. So he's a very good pick. He gets himself into good positions, but I think he needs to work on his finishing. So if he wasn't cheap, I would have been planning to take him out, especially with the Europa League coming up. I don't think he'll start every game. Son obviously didn't play. Anguiz, I don't know if you guys saw Anguiz almost scored a goal and Meslier saved the ball. That would have been historic if Anguiza got that goal. I loved his hair as well. Like he stands out from everyone else. You can see where Anguiza is. I love to see my players where they are on the pitch. So Rafinha got the captaincy and I changed it from Lacazette in the last minute. Didn't work because Lacazette got 11 points and I was scared because I didn't know the Lacazette Aubameyang was going to start and I wanted to. This week you had to get the correct captain pick, simple as that. If you got it wrong, it would have been terrible. Okay, Ben had a good enough team to like. So the captaincy pick didn't really matter because he ended up getting 60 plus points anyway. But with this team, I had 52 points and took my 5th FPL hit in 5 years I've been playing. This was my 5th hit. Rafinha got the goal. I was happy with that. A bonus point as well. Bamford didn't know he was going to start. He returned, also picked up a yellow card. I actually hate players who pick up yellow cards. And then Kane got the penalty. It came to a time I was actually hoping Kane misses because he was captained by so many people. But it's okay anyway. And then Lacazette, 11 points, goal, assist, and another yellow card again. I think 3 of those players picked up yellow cards. Very frustrating. So yeah, I'm going forward as well. Shaw, Stones, Fernandes on the bench. Probably will keep the 3 of them, obviously. Bamford, Kane, Lacazette against Liverpool will even play, I'm not sure. Rafinha probably keep him, but I still need to make like 3 or 4 changes. So taking a -4 ended up with that 52 points, -4, 48. I think I was happy with that.
Yeah, that is a very, very decent week. Like some of those picks in there, like Lacazette, it's just one of those where it was going to be an Arsenal player, but which one was it? And obviously you did pick the right one. Rafinha, captain. I don't think you can be too disheartened about losing, what was it, about a
3-point
swing. It's not the end of the world. I think having any form of captaincy return this week, even if it was Kane, it was just a big W for anyone.
Yeah, and then Lacazette also, like, I checked the mini leagues. Not many people have Lacazette, so it kind of was a good pick anyway because not many people had him. And I had Josh saying earlier on that the West Ham Arsenal game was good to watch. It wasn't, really. As an Arsenal fan, it was the defending in that game was terrible. Like, we scored the same kind of goal 3 times. So Cresswell on the left side was terrible. Like we scored the same goal 3 times, and they scored for us basically from the same wing, the same kind of play. Odegaard to Chambers cross goal, Odegaard to Chambers cross goal, same kind of way. And for us losing the concentration all the time, the defense in that game was terrible. So Kufal, Cresswell owners, and Sushek scoring an own goal, perfect. So that was my team.
Yeah, very very solid team. We can't really move on to the fixtures anymore because obviously it's international break, so everyone will be taking sort of a chill maybe for like the next week or so. Obviously, it's not until the 3rd of April, the next deadline. I have people on TikTok asking me, "What's your captain pick for next week?" It's like, chill, man. I need to decide what I'm doing for next week first. But yeah, it's not bad. I want to just bring up quickly this website. If no one knows about it already, it basically tells you your captain picks. You put in your team ID. And then you get to see from game week 1 all the way down to the present game week to 29 how your captains have done. And this is where I really see like the difference in like my season personally. Although there seems like to be quite a few greens, like I go on runs of just terrible reds. I think Ben, you're the same as well, aren't you? You have like literal runs of terrible captain picks.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to get it right next week, really, haven't I? I can't have 5.
You're like 4 in a row, aren't you?
I'm at 4 at the moment. I mean, the website that you're on, it counted my Bruno Fernandes triple captain as a return, but I don't see it that way personally. I mean, 6 points is not a return for me. So yeah, I hope that next week I can actually get a captaincy pick right. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
How many have you got right, Josh, from that list? 29 game weeks.
I'll just do a quick count. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 17 out of not 29. So that is obviously that's up below 50%, isn't it? So
yeah, I think that's very good. I think mine could be like 12 because there's so many times Sterling has blanked for me. Remember the earlier days where I used to captain Aubameyang, so many times he blanked. Jesus blanked for me. Richarlison blanked. Kane blanked. I think it could be like 12 for me. So I'm happy with where I am with only like 12 good captain picks.
Yeah, it definitely like differentiates the good players from the real good players, like the captain pick. Because it's like, for example, this week, if me and Ben get a good captain pick, you're looking at a way higher rank climb than we already had.
Yeah.
We'll take a couple of questions now from the comments. Shiv asks when to wildcard this week or next. Now, I see the majority of people on Twitter and everything saying do it next week in game week before game week 31, right?
Yeah.
And I see the logic behind it because there's a fixture swing. Like some teams start getting good fixtures from game week 31 and other teams get bad ones from 31. The reason why I'm wildcarding this week is because I don't think my team's good enough for next week anyway. So I may as well just hit that wildcard and you know take an L somewhat on game week 30 potentially, but going on, I should be good.
Yeah, I think it all depends on your team. Like if you have like a Leeds triple up, I think you could understand why you'd keep it because I know a lot of people, if you do have a Leeds triple up, they face Sheffield United. The likes of Bamford, Rafinha, probably quite good captaincy options for game week 30 because obviously how poor Sheffield United have been since they've sacked Wilder. But yeah, it all depends on your team. For me, if it was me right now, I'd save it to 31 because I think my team's good enough to play in 30.
The casual RI player says, when should I bench boost? Glenn, when should he bench boost?
I still have my bench boost. That's the only chip remaining. And I really wish I could have used it early on the season because it's very stressful trying to plan for a bench boost when you have no other chips. Because I think the doubles are coming up, but you'll have to break up like your entire team. I'll have to take up the likes of Barton who are in goal. So best week, probably I'd say the next double game week. I don't know when that is. Is it game week 32? Somewhere there?
So next game week, basically. There's one around there, yeah.
Yeah, I just tell you like basically the next double game week is the best time to play it.
Yeah, I'm looking at game week 32. I wasn't even thinking about the double game weeks before you mentioned it, but I was thinking game week 32 because I have so many benching headaches for that week. It's ridiculous. Based off of my wild card, everyone has nice fixtures. Like literally every player has a decent fixture. So I'm thinking around then as well. If you still have your bench boost, I know quite a lot of people don't actually have their bench boost anymore. But yeah, I agree with Glenn in that. Dylan asked thoughts on Gareth Bale, sell ahead of Newcastle. Josh, you have Bale, don't you?
I do indeed. It's going to be one of those where you're going to have to just put it down, put the app down for 2 weeks, see how he plays for Wales, and if he does play, that is, and then go from there. You need to wait for Mourinho. Mourinho's the one that you're going to have to unpick his press conference before that game. For me, I don't think definitely don't want to get him in for sure. Getting him out though is a risk for me. I have a lot more issues to sort out than just Bale. I think I can rely on Bale maybe not playing and getting someone off the bench. It's not that deep for me. But yeah, I would think if you're happy with the rest of your team, I don't see why you wouldn't get him out, because his minutes, even when he does play, aren't the most. He's like playing 70 minutes max anyway.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Glenn, you're getting in the comments as well. Is Kelechi Iheanacho a must-have? Glenn, you haven't even got him in your team yet.
Yeah, and I'm really regretting that very badly, because I know now everyone will get him in. That's the one problem, and I think his run is over. Unfortunately, I don't think he can keep up his good run. Yeah, I think his good run is over. I don't think he scored 8 goals in like 4 weeks. Like, I don't think this is not Vardy, man. Like, I think it will come to an end. I think he has like City next, his former club, and then the games are tougher. West Ham away after that. So I don't think his run will go on, and I think Maddison and Barnes are about to come back. So I don't think he'll be getting 90 minutes like we're hoping for. So I think I've missed the boat on that one, and many people have already missed the boat.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Glenn, on this one. I think Leicester have some.
How times have changed.
I think Leicester have a good run of fixtures coming up for him. And I was watching the press conferences with Rodgers, and I'm looking at the game, and Vardy seems to like having a partner up front more than he has playing on his own, and he's getting more returns as a result of that. So I'm going to say Iheanacho is a must-have, purely because, he's 5.8 million. He's so cheap for a striker. And you think other strikers around that price point, Shea Adams is in there, but Kelechi Iheanacho is in an informed Leicester team, and imagine what he can do when Barnes is back, when Maddison is back. I'm literally thinking about it now, and I'm like, I have to get him in. So he's in my wildcard team at the moment, and who would have thought that Glenn's not back in Iheanacho, and I'm sat here back in his corner?
It's mental.
It's mental, because for me right now, I do prefer Maja. He has Aston Villa away, and then he has a couple of good fixtures. So we've rotated, man. We've rotated. But do you guys think I should be a scout? Because I spotted Iheanacho as a very young talent, like 6-7 weeks ago. I think probably should be a scout and get this picks, because I was really happy that week. I'm glad he's doing well, because a lot of people didn't like him.
Yeah, I think the thing that shocked me with him, before we move on quickly, is just how he's got his assist potential is so high as well. Even I know it weren't FPL wise, but against Man United yesterday, he got 2 goals and an assist. He looked dangerous playing passes through. Vardy could have scored more goals than what he has been. He's been in a bit of a bad run of form right now, Jamie Vardy. And if anyone gets dropped, I think it'll be Vardy over Iheanacho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing so well. He's playing the best football of his career right now.
Definitely. So
I don't see any reason why you shouldn't get him in. I think everyone who is on a wild card now and for Game Week 31 will bring him in. I'm sure of it. He's going to rise so much.
Yeah, defo.
How much is he going to be by the time 31 comes around after that City game?
He'd probably be pushing 6. To be fair, I think he went up last night already. So
yeah. So Jack asked, he's considering Havertz, but Tuchel roulette is making him think otherwise. I'll tell you where I stand on it. I agree with you. I'm tempted by him too, but it's just he is expensive for what he is and for what he's got so far this season.
Seems to be playing up front though. Like when they play their best team, the thing is that might hurt picking someone like a Havertz, a Ziyech, a Werner, is that they're still in the Champions League and they have a very, very good chance of reaching semi-final, finals. Obviously Porto, you'd expect them to probably go on and win in that game. So I think maybe a bit of rotation, like he says with the Tuchel roulette, I think that is your major concern.
I'm loving Chelsea's fixtures. West Brom, I'm really targeting that to West Brom and Crystal Palace games. Like, I've not had any Chelsea assets in weeks. I've kind of had United, Shaw, Fernandes, Arsenal, Lacazette, Saka, bit of City with Sterling and Stones, but never Chelsea in a while. And right now, those fixtures coming up, I'm looking at their defense mostly, like the likes of Rudiger, and then midfield maybe ZH. Like he didn't play in the FA Cup, so maybe he'll start next time. So I'm definitely looking at Chelsea's assets. Definitely, Werner being the top one.
I'm looking at Chelsea defensive assets all over in the wildcard. I've got 2 defensive assets for Chelsea in. I've got
I think that's the way to go.
Mendy and Rudiger at the moment, but that could change. Christensen's around that price point Rudiger's at. Azpilicueta is a bit more, but he does get
guaranteed starts as well,
and he does start. So I'm liking the Chelsea defensive assets going forward. I'm not convinced because although they're playing well, they're not playing like attractive attacking football in that sort of sense, and they're only creating maybe 2, 3, 4 chances a game to score, and they're killing teams off by beating them 1 or 2-0. But I think they're on the best defensive run that they've been on since that Mourinho era at the moment, which is
I saw some stat. They haven't conceded a goal at Stamford Bridge in like over 2,000 minutes, I think it said. So just that alone just screams pick defensive off. It almost it's like when Man City started into their defensive form. It seems like to be that sort of thing again.
I mean, Shiv is asking, can we get a sneak peek?
I've seen a couple of those, I think we should.
There's a couple.
Highly suggested, yeah. That's the content we want to see.
Let's see what I can do. You know what? Why not? So this
defo won't be the same by the time tomorrow.
I don't know. I'm quite happy and settled with this at the moment. So I've got Mendy in goal. A back 5 as it stands. I'm having a bit of benching headaches already with this team, and it's stressing me out. But I've got Luke Shaw in. I think you have to have him in at the moment. Josh will agree. Going forward, he's been phenomenal. Defensively, he's been phenomenal. He picks up bonus points. Obviously, Rudiger in defence is the cheap Chelsea option. Ruben Dias, because he literally starts every game. Why wouldn't I have him in? Dallas, purely because that Sheffield United fixture. I'll be looking to transfer him out after Gameweek 30. And then Cresswell as well. He's just a staple in the team. I've brought in De Bruyne because I like City's fixtures going forwards. But, that's probably one of the positions which I'm most likely to change. I've kept Rafinha in there because despite them having some tough fixtures coming up, his output doesn't change based on who he's playing. So, and I've currently got Calvert-Lewin in there. Whether that will stay the same, I don't know, but I just like his fixtures. And then the more notable ones that I brought in is Jota as my Liverpool coverage, and Iheanacho, of course. We were talking about him earlier. So that's currently the state of my wild card. What do you guys think at the moment of that?
It's funny you mentioned Lingard at the same time I'm watching him scoring against us again. Yeah, he's a good pick. That was a very good goal. I think you really do need to have him. So the rest of the team, very good. Diaz, obviously, City defender has to be there. Chelsea defender has to be there. I love Shaw. Dallas, definitely the positions. I wish I jumped on Dallas very early. It's like a Landstrom from last season. I wonder who you're going to have like this, like next season. A defender who's playing in midfield. It's very rare. Very, very good team. I think you've covered most of the teams. So, for me, good team. Interesting to see no Liverpool assets apart from Jota again. And in goal, Mendy, and who's on the bench?
I've got Areola on the bench, Jota, Lingard, Iheanacho.
So that's Chelsea double up in defense. So I think it could work. I think it could work for you, the fixtures coming up. So good team.
Josh, thoughts?
Yeah, jealous of not having a wild card. To be fair, your team looks unreal. Yeah. The only iffy pick for me would be DCL. Not because he's not because of the fixtures. I think Everton, he could definitely score. But just him in general, he's just been underperforming a lot since obviously his barren run at the start of the season. But even still, I think he's not the worst pick in the world. Like you wouldn't be that upset owning him. So yeah, it looks really decent. Love the defense as well. I think maybe playing a 4 or 5 at the back going forward could be the way to go. We're seeing a lot more clean sheets and a lot more defenders attacking returns. Then some of these would you say right now, question to both of you, is there like a premium must have right now? Like, do you feel like you need someone right now?
Definitely not anyone from Liverpool. Definitely not Aubameyang from Arsenal. I'd probably not must. Okay, I'd probably just say Fernandes because literally everyone owns him. He's almost 60% owned, and obviously the penalties are still there. You guys have Brighton coming up, Burnley coming up, some good fixtures. So I think Fernandes is the only one who you'd say. I think this is the time now you can like change your ideas here and there, get a couple of Chelsea players, get some West Ham players. So I think just Fernandes.
I think for me, Fernandes, I agree with that. I think Kane probably has to be in there with a shout because he just scores every week now and he's kept relatively injury free. I think that's what's been the sticking point for Kane a lot of the time is he'll play injured. And I think Mourinho's kind of managed him quite well in that regard. I'm also going to say De Bruyne. And I say that because he's looked so good in the past 2 games in the Champions League. Unbelievable game he played. So the fact that he hasn't played many minutes this season as well suggests that he could have a really strong end to the season. He's fresh, hasn't played too much. So potentially De Bruyne, I'm not too sure.
I think De Bruyne is very much going under the radar. I think he's under 20% owned right now, which is like astronomical given he was like the top scoring player last season. So I think, I agree with Kane and De Bruyne for me are probably more must-have than Bruno Fernandes. I think we've seen, like, obviously I watch United's games week in, week out. His output is dropped dramatically. I would say Luke Shaw probably has more impact going forward than he does right now. So, and especially with Pogba coming back in, I think we might see Bruno get transferred out even more, despite him picking up that dodgy return that we see him get most of the time.
I think City have Leeds in game week 31. I'm going to go early. I think that is the game that's going to have the most goals this season. I can only see goals. City against Leeds, I can see something like a 6-3, something crazy like that. So De Bruyne, if he plays, I doubt De Bruyne will play in that week though, because they have Dortmund, I think, either side. Just before that. So that's
the worst thing about him is the rotation.
Yeah, I think for all the City assets, apart from Diaz, I'd say it's like Diaz is just a mainstay. He plays every game. And I think Guardiola likes that structure of him being back there. So we'll see how that works out. I'm sure my captaincy will change. I'm sure I'll make a couple of changes here or there, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it's setting up at the moment.
I'm jealous, just like Josh.
It looks so good.
Trossard returning for you, Lingard returning for you, Wildcard. You must be loving life right now.
Of course. We'll wrap that one up there, I think. Thank you, Glenn, again for coming on. It's been a while since you were last on, so I'm sure everyone enjoyed you being back on the channel.
Thank you, man, and keep getting. I prefer watching other guests on the show, so keep getting the top guests again, FPL Juice and the rest of them. So keep up the great content.
Glenn's slyly saying he doesn't want to be back. It's all right, we understand.
Definitely not an Arsenal lose. Definitely not an Arsenal lose.
Hey, they had a nice comeback. It's against the rival for the Europa League, right?
Well, I'm looking at the Champions League competition. United won't win, definitely, Josh.
We'll see. We might just take the Europa League just for the fun of it.
And come on Barnsley, come on Watford, come on the rest of the playoff teams, and ready.
We love it. But as always, please make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Go and follow Glenn on Twitter, YouTube, you name it. He's there. He needs to get a TikTok account though. That's what he needs to do. So keep pressuring him. He will make a TikTok account one day. We are sure of it. And I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
I've been Glenn.
And we'll see you guys
after the international break.